they're less prone to be attached to a name that they use in this.
Okay, give a couple of seconds here and then we'll get started. I was just going over the first live that we did, I think it was last week, just to make sure that I know where I left off because this is the second part. So, the first part, we talked about very important things that we need to know when we're working with and identifying the spirit team, right? So, when we learn to identify the spirit team, there is so many variables, and that's why we needed to do that session first. Because when we do that session first, we now understand how to make sure that we don't get tricked by an entity that is of a lower vibration. And that is very important. So if you haven't seen that video, that conversation from last week, I truly advise you to do that. When we get to the end of that session is when we start talking about the different things, how to ask for the name, why sometimes we don't get the name, things that we can do to better understand from the spirit team who do they work with, under whose leadership. Obviously all of them work for source, but we have to know if they have, for example, if they work with Archangel Michael, if they work with Metresili or whoever, right? Candelos Edife, so that, or Yemaya, or some type of energy that you know of where you want to know when they come to you, whether it is La Madama or somebody that has a lineage, not a lineage, a legion of energies that work under them. So we went through that so that we can understand that. So in this conversation, I'm going to focus on more practical things that you can do to truly receive the messages that your spirits are giving you or your ancestors. So this is going to be more practical. I want to get into the practical so that we can get the advice and understand the advice, understand why things are coming in the way that they're coming. And, this is a random conversation that I decided to do for today. So I'm not expecting a lot of people here today, but if you do happen to come in, please put a comment in the chat area or in the comments area, and we'll get to it. So I'm going to start immediately because, like I said, this is a random conversation that I decided to have today. I had a little more time after this morning. Um, so I wanted to make sure that I get this done today. I owe you this. So this is the second part of how to connect with our spirit team. And like I said, we're going to be talking about more practical things. So the first thing that I'm going to start with is defining who might be the main person, the main energy coming to you. The main energy is normally the guardian angel, the angel that has been assigned to protect and guide you. Um, it could be in Orisha, it could be Alua, it could be an animal, it could be any energy that you truly feel that you have received or that you're in the process of receiving more guidance on a day-to-day. Like, I know some people have more so than in Orisha or Loa. They may have an animal, an energy that decides to come as an animal for many, many different lifetimes. Sometimes we call them soul animals. So whether it is Aloha, Orisha, an energy from your spiritual practice, an angel, or whatever it might be, we can use this that we're going to discuss today to give you more insights about how to better connect and listen and understand why they're coming. What is the message? Every time that we feel the presence or we might be receiving information, what we're getting is a message. We're getting a message to pay attention to something. Maybe it's something in our thoughts that we need to pay attention to, a situation outside of us that is affecting us internally. It might be us affecting other people, or whatever it may be part of your ascension process to go through certain situations in order for you to understand things to the next level. So, like I said, this is going to be more practical. Please put any questions in the chat area, and hopefully we have some sort of interaction. Like I said, the guardian angel, the main guardian angel, can be an angel, or it could be an animal, it could be an orisha, it could be whatever your spiritual practice. That might be a different entity that you know as your guardian angel. So everyone has a guardian angel. Even countries, even the year has an angel or an energy that comes to give us information about the lessons that we're about to experience and learn from for this year, right? Like if you into Ifa and Santeria or 21 divisions, you will see that every year we have an entity that comes through to let them know that they're ruling the year. And when we rule the year, when those energies rule the year, they are coming in with specific lessons that as a group we will have to learn. So one of the main things that you have to do when you're working with your spirit team, to understand your spirit team, is that you have to understand how are you paying attention to your spirit team. What type of clairs are you developing or going through development for you to communicate with the spirit team, whether it is clairvoyance, right, seeing through the third eye, hearing, feeling, like you can feel it, you can smell it, you can taste it, or you have a deep knowing, like when you have a deep knowing that it is real, like that. It could be also what is another way? The clear knowing or clear empathy is another one. Touching, clear tangency, I think is the name. So from seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, tasting, smelling, right? Or those emotions when you know something to be true, but you don't know how you know, you just know. Those are the different clairs. So these clairs are very important for us to communicate with our spirit team because they help us develop our intuition. And when we work with our intuition, we can truly develop those clairs, and we can have all of these clairs, or you might be really good at one or two until you start developing all of them. And anyone can develop all of them. Honestly, I believe that anyone can develop all of them. It's a matter of how much training you decide and effort you decide to put into it. So these clairs give us a lot of information. How do we see? When we meditate a lot, we tend to have this eye very open. We can truly hear and see, or have a deep knowing. Sometimes a spirit might give you a smell, and you smell the flowers, or you may smell the coffee, or the rum, or the tobacco, or something very specific. If it's an ancestor, you might smell something that they liked while they were here in this 3D reality. So understanding how to work with your clairs is very important here, because the spirits are going to try to communicate with you with the clairs that they know that you're already working to develop, so that you can have an easier time understanding them. That makes sense, right? So the more that you spend developing a specific clair, whether it is clear seeing, clear audience, clear feeling, clear tasting, clear knowing, right? Clear knowing, clear empathy, or touching, you're gonna know that one of those clear is more developed than another. And your spirit team also knows this. So they're going to give you information. They know the way that they know that you're going to understand it the easier way possible. So they're not going to give you something that is going to put you, unless you're going through that ascension process where you're now starting to work with another clear. For example, if you're starting to If your third eye and hearing is really good, you might start feeling, you might start knowing, or you might start smelling, really smelling to the point where you really got this, right? So the clairs that are most active are going to be mostly the way that the spirits are going to communicate with you so that you can advance faster and master that clair. Get to the point where you can get to the next clair. So if you're already really good at one clair, it is possible that your spirit team might be giving you information in a different way to train you to develop that ability. Okay. So for example, I was at a botanica and I was, normally I don't, touching is not a big deal for me. Like I don't get a lot of information from touching, but I was at this botanica once and I went through a space, one of the ions, and while I'm in one of these ions, I hear my name and my eye went immediately into something. And I was like, whoa, that has so much power right there. And you can feel the power of things, but when you touch that ability, when you touch, you can tap into more information about that item. And normally I haven't put a lot of effort into developing that clair, so it's not something that really calls my attention. But I went into another aisle and into another aisle, and somehow I just kept pulling myself back. It kept pulling myself back into that specific aisle where this thing was, to the point that normally I don't touch things at a botanica unless I'm going to purchase it. I had to touch it. And, I'm not going to buy this because I don't know what it is. I don't know anything about this. I need to meditate before I even buy this. And I ended up 2, 3 days later, going back, 2, 3 days later, going back to buy this thing. And I couldn't stay away from this thing. And I'm touching this thing and I'm feeling the energy. I had a deja vu moment, but even though I had a deja vu moment, I waited 2 or 3 days to go back for it because I wanted to make sure that it was the something that I needed to have. Anyways, so you can see how you can start developing clairs as you go along. So most of the time, your spirit team is going to give you information with the clairs that they know that you already have good balance of, have achieved some type of mastery over. And then when you get ready for the next set, you're going to start receiving information that way too. So you cannot discount. Some people are like, no, I can only see and hear, but they might not realize that they can also smell. When you're smelling, you're receiving that information that way. It might be the spirit in trying to train you to develop that ability. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Please let me know if it does or it doesn't. So your spirit team, like I said, could be animals, angels, ancestors. Obviously, we all have our ancestors, can be orishas, could be any energy from any spiritual practice that you can think of, because by the time that we get to this here, we have so many thousands and thousands and millions of ancestors to get to this generation here that it will be quite impossible not to have ancestors from everywhere in this planet, to be honest. So when we think about it like that, sometimes you might be receiving information in another language because the spirit team that is coming to give you information might be coming from that specific area. The You might have to translate. You might have to look at the origin of information to know what it's trying to tell you. For example, a couple of days ago, I was meditating and I received a word that was from South African. I forgot the name. I think it was like Surlu or something like that. And it was perfect timing because what I was trying to ask for and what I received during the meditation was exactly that, but they gave it to me in a different language so that I can truly understand that it was divinely sent to me in a way that I couldn't make up because I didn't know the meaning of that word until I actually had to go look it up. Does that make sense? So sometimes you may hear things in a different language so that you are prone to go into Google, find information on Google and be like, oh my God, yes, it's true. This is spirit. So you can see that The spirits truly know, like they know I'm going to research that. But if they know that you're a little lazy, they might test you to know if you're going to go do it. And if you don't, they know, well, this one is very lazy, we're going to have to do something else. So it's almost like a communication with a group of energies that um they're there for us, they're there to support us. But we also have to show that we're willing and ready, and that we're putting the effort to receive the information that they can give us through the different abilities that we need to learn to develop and master, so that we can receive all the. It's almost like right now, this room is not alone. I have a group of energies here, right? And I can feel them. I can see some of them, not all of them. But if I close my eyes, I probably see all of them and more, because you develop your clairs, your abilities, in order for you to tap into those energies that are available to you to help you in this reality. This is the reality, where this physical reality, where we need assistance from the spirits. So we have millions of spirits everywhere. Some of those spirits we can call from other realms to come and help us, but normally we have a lot of ancestors, spirit guides, energies that are waiting to assist us with anything that we need. So I'm going to ask you to, if you don't have a sacred place yet, where, whether it is an altar or your bedroom, or where you like to drink your coffee, or the yard where you plant and you do gardening, or it may be the front porch where you sit down with a cup of coffee and a book. You could develop any room, any space, or your heart, just by closing your eyes and going in to reflect. You can develop a sacred place technique for you to tap and communicate with your spirit team. You have to have and designate a place. I recommend for the house to be, obviously, because this is a walking ceremony. This life is a ceremony. When we do plant medicine or we go into quantum healing, we go, or any sacred modality, we go and we see chaos, and then we see beautiful things, and then we understand, well, this is like that. This life is a walking ceremony. And because it is a walking ceremony, we have to treat it with that sacredness and respect. So I like to think of my heart as my sacred and most important place, but I also have my altar. My altar room is this place where, when I go in there, I immediately know it is a sacred moment of reflection, meditation, trance, healing, removing things that don't belong, attracting things that we need, whatever it is, right? So my altar is my physical, outside of me, sacred place. But inside of me, obviously, my heart is my sacred place. But I'm going to ask you, do you have a sacred place outside of you, besides your heart, where you sit down often and you contemplate every single day? It might be your garden. You don't need to have statues and things. I'm asking you for a sacred place where you can contemplate, communicate with your spirit team, communicate with your ancestors, ask things that are going to better your life, so that you could do a lot of self reflection. This is very important when you're trying to develop your spirit team, communication with your spirit team, to always get information from them, because it shows that every day you know the importance of taking time, whether it is 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you're lucky, you can get an hour. But even if it's just 5 minutes a day, it's going to make such a big difference that in a year you're not going to recognize yourself. So, having a sacred physical place in this physical reality is very important for you to develop your connection with your spirit team, to identify. Let me give you a technique. If you have a lot of spirits that come to you, you might ask them to put themselves as I'm looking for something that can, like a circle. A circle. Let's pretend that this is a circle. A circle has 360. You can ask, who is the spirit? Who is the spirit that is right here on my head? That's your guardian angel. Who's the spirit that is in front of me? Who's the spirit that is, like if you look at this as a clock, that's what I'm looking for. As a clock, you have 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you have the 12 hours in the clock, right? You can ask, who is my spirit that is at the head? Who's my spirit that is at 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and so on, so that you can receive information from them. This is going to help you in different ways, because the spirit that is in your head is your guardian angel. That's your Metet. In 21 divisions, we call it the Metet, the head angel, the head Orisha, the head Lua. So this person here is normally side by side with you always, right? The 3 o'clock one might be giving you information about the future, what you need to do to become better, to become whatever. And you can identify them depending on your specific situation. This is not the same for everybody. The 6 p.m. might be telling you whether it is shadows, or 9 p.m., whether it is shadows and things that you need to be aware of, that you need to bring to the light to remove. Your 9 p.m. might be giving you something completely different. So you got to look at it in a way that you can put it into a single practice where you can say, okay, if the spirit comes at 3 p.m., I know this is what they're trying to tell me. If it comes at 6 p.m., this is what they're trying to tell me. And you have to assign a meaning depending on your relationship with your spirit. If it's coming at 12, at 11, right? Right before your head. What is it? Is that a shadow? Or you got to see, when you put it into practice, when the spirits are coming and you go into meditation to receive that information, and then you put it into practice by putting something like this on your altar with their names. As you get them the answers, you put the name, so you don't forget, because you will forget unless you put the name. And once you put the name, you can now meditate. Why is this? For example, let's say I don't know, let's say Papa Gede is coming to you. What is Papa Gede trying to teach you? Let's say Orisha Oko is coming to you. What is Orisha Oko trying to teach you? Why is this energy being assigned or coming to reveal its presence to you now? Because for you, it will be different than for me. Just because, let's say, it's Grand Bois, or some energy that you know that represents agriculture, doesn't mean that the same way that he comes to you is going to be the same purpose that he has with me. Because for you, it might be all about learning different things so that you can eat better. For me, it might be making things so people can cleanse the auric field. So depending on the purpose that is coming to you now, you're going to assign it this different meaning. So no every energy is going to come to the same people the same way, everybody the same way. So by identifying with this simple technique, listen to the beginning where we started talking about this to understand. This technique is very powerful. Um, Very powerful if you pay attention to the energies when they come to you. Let's say Anaisa is coming to you, and Anaisa is coming in at 3 p.m. And 3 p.m., the sun is very bright. It could be 10 a.m. I don't know, whatever. What you want to do is feel this, so you can feel the spots for the most important energies that are in your spirit team, that are ready to work with you now to get you to the next level, because it's always a next level, right? So let's say Anais is coming at 10 a.m. Well, 10 a.m., the sun is very bright. 3 p.m., any of those. So she might be coming in to give you information about the solar plexus. If it's another energy that is coming late at night, you know why they're coming. It's the end of the night. A lot of eguns, muertos, deceased loved ones are going to come, right, before 3:30 a.m. So anytime between 12 and 3:30 a.m. So this is 12, but obviously you know that there are 24 hours. So it depends. You can do this 24, and you could do this to 36, and you can multiply this, but this is the basic one. This is just a basic technique. So you can see how, by you, let's say you receive information from, oh, and by the way, this is representative of your body. So your head is round, right? So when you hear your energy, if you receive information, where did you hear? Did you hear here, 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 here? And that's going to give you information about which energy might be talking to you if you don't know how to identify them. Okay? Did that make sense? Please let me know. I need to make sure that I know if this is making sense, please. And I'm going to read the comments in a moment, but I want to make sure that I didn't forget to give you this easy technique, because it truly helps to develop the, not only to remove self-doubts, because the worst thing that you can do when you're talking to your spirit team is to have a lot of doubts and fears. A lot of people are fearful because they don't understand that, they get afraid, they don't believe. And the worst thing that you could do is to not have faith, not believe, and have fear, right? So to develop that conversation, when you see this clock, where did I put it? I'm talking about this clock here, but you can put it on paper on your altar so you can develop that understanding. And let's say an energy come and you hear right here. Now you know, okay, that energy is the one that I assigned to so and so. And now you can understand if that energy definitely is somehow giving you that information based on what that energy represents for you. Okay. So if the energy, let's say, is San Nicolas del Sol, Saint Nicholas has been coming to me, let's say, this whole week. I don't know, for whatever purpose. He's giving clarity, understanding, wisdom, but it can be hard. So I also have another energy coming to me, and balancing that, so much information with practicality. So you may have energies coming in different ways to give you different information, is what I'm saying. So the way that you communicate, that they communicate with you, is going to be very important for you to develop techniques that you can put in practice to understand who's coming for what. If you really, sometimes, the information is so good, it doesn't matter who gave you the information. But if you want to thank your energies for coming, and you want to light a candle, or you want to give them water, or you just want to say thank you with their name, then you need to develop those techniques. But if you develop a relationship to the point that it doesn't matter who it is, the information is helping you to understand, to expand your mind, to expand your heart, and all of that. All you gotta say is thank you. You don't have to go crazy with this. So anyways, having that outside altar is very important, because it's that, at the moment that you get to that altar, the more you do it, your physical body is going to know, oh, when I get to this place, I am letting go of everything in this reality, and I'm going in. And automatically your body kind of shuts down, so that it helps you transition very easily from regular life to a more self reflective life, where you are truly believing and receiving so much knowledge. I don't know if you have an altar and you sit down and you pay attention to the candles. You know, when you're paying attention to those candles, you're going into trance, because you like trying to fight to keep your eyes open, and eventually your eyes just close and you go into trance. You have a really good altar where the energy is so amplified that the moment you get there, the physical becomes not as important, and you can truly immerse yourself into the wisdom and the knowledge that the spirit team is coming to give you. So your life definitely has to be like a walking meditation. You have to treat it that way. We all have this, the plants have medicine. When we eat different plants, we can see the benefits, scientific benefits, right? You can receive that. You can Google that. You can Google the benefits for almonds, for tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and this and that, ayahuasca, San Pedro, peyote, iboga, yopo. We all know that the different plant kingdom has medicine. Even the animals have nutrition benefits that we all know about, right? Like if you Google the omega for the fishes and this and that. So what I'm saying is, you also have medicine. I have medicine. Everybody here has a medicine, an energy signature that provides information to the universe. And that's why I said that, what is your medicine? What is it that you're going through right now, that you're giving now to the universe, that you are attracting into your life, that you are um being, really, that's what it is. You're being this medicine. What is your medicine? Sometimes when I can be really great, but I can also be very spiteful, like the scorpion. So I know my medicine can be very good at healing, but it can also kill, because it's that polarity. We all have that polarity. When we're going through an ascension process, we tend to bring shadows, and to bring them into the light, we have to fight. So when you're bringing and you're going through that contraction, and you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm going through another dark night. Is this really happening again? I thought I got better. Why is this happening to me? You're stepping up your game. And the shadows sometimes are so deeply rooted, that we have to fight hard to contemplate, to meditate, to receive, allow ourselves to receive the healing and the help from our spirit team, from our ancestors. And that is hard, because we go in and we attack ourselves. So your spirit team might be coming in to give you information about the next step. What is the next step? Once you conquer this, what is your next step? What is it that you're going to be? And you can ask. Let's say another technique is, if you're going into developing your intuition, you can grab some basic animal, what do I have it? Animal oracle cards. And every day you can wake up and say, okay, what did I learn last night in my dream? And pull 3 cards to get a message. And if it is a message that you cannot decipher, you can also do the same. What did I learn? What was the main purpose of that dream? Why do I feel this way? And that will give you some more insights based on your intuition, to develop your intuition, to get to the point where you can understand your feelings, because sometimes it's so much that you don't, you get lost in it. So developing quick, easy techniques that you do daily is important. I'm not saying that you need to start reading tarot for people. I'm saying developing your intuition to understand. Let's say you see an animal. Okay, I saw that animal 3 4 times today. I normally don't even pay attention to the animals. Why did I see that animal 5 times today? And you can meditate to get that answer, and look for what does it represent. Let's say I don't know. Let's say I'm seeing white birds flying. I don't even know what type of birds it is, but I'm seeing it flying, and I know it's white. Well, that has color, that you can try to understand the significance of the color, as well as the animal flying. The animal spirit guide has a message for you, right? Just like we have, I don't know, swans. They are graceful, they're white, they're pure, they're beautiful. What is the energy, the medicine of that animal represent? And what is the message for you? There is always a message. So whether it is, I don't know, let's say it's what other animal? Let's say today you saw a lot of bees. Oh my goodness, you saw a lot of bees. And you're like, what, this is weird. Why am I seeing so many bees? It could be that you're having issue with your family or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or at work, and you're not learning to work together in a team. So, or it could be a cat. Randomly, you saw the cat. I don't know. You never see cats in your area, but today you saw 3 cats. Well, cats have a lot of mysterious information. They can see the unseen. So they might be guiding you to pay attention to something that you're not really seeing, something that you're ignoring, something that might be hidden. So it might be a secret. Somebody's keeping a secret from you. You see what I'm saying? So let's say in your dream, you're seeing a lot of bats. Oh my God, I saw a little bat, or I saw, you know what, better yet, I saw a dragon in my dream. Oh my goodness, I love dragon. We know dragons are very supernatural. They only exist in the higher planes. So we don't see them here anymore. So what are they teaching us from the higher planes? These are very ancient, mysterious beings, and they can change shift and do things that normally people wouldn't be able to. They represents the change shifter because they also have that energy of the snake, the creation, very ancient. So you see dragons, you know, you might be going through an ascension, an activation, or you might be receiving mystery information. So go back into the dream and pay attention to what happened in the dream so that you can pick up the mystery and the teachings, the lessons in that dream, because there was mysterious information that maybe you didn't pay attention to, but now that you know the dragon is supernatural, you can go back and see, so you can understand. Because if you see but you don't understand, the activation, the information was downloaded but you didn't activate it. The download is just a download. You have to activate it, right? Also, let's say that you were seeing a lot of colors, a lot of, you close your eyes and you were seeing purple, or you see black, and you know black can be ancestors, can be Barón del Cementerio, Barón Samdi, Barón Lacroix, any of the Guedes, could be the ancestors or even your guardian angel, because it's mystery. It's also represents the back of the neck chakra. It represents the shadow. So if you're seeing a lot of black color or feeling very attracted to that color right now, you might be dealing with working through your shadow to bring it to the light, working with releasing of something, maybe even working in the occult, in the mystery schools, in the dream state. So you might be going through an activation of some sort, or it might be something happening where you might be feeling like, things are not the way that they're supposed to be, and now I'm ready for the next step. Okay, so the colors also are going to give you a lot of information. Your spirit guide might give you a feeling to wear a certain color. Let's say it's orange, and oh, that's weird. I want to wear orange today. Well, why? It might be your spirit guide trying to tell you this is what you need to work with those energies of creativity, expression, even your throat or the solar plexus. So your spirit guide are guiding and giving you constant information, especially your guardian angel, so that you pay attention to it. In order for you to develop that connection, you have to be more attentive. Is this information coming from my ideas or outside of me? Why do I feel like I need to wear white? A lot of people think, oh, if I see white in my dream or in a vision, it means that I have to do santo. I have to go into Ifa, or I have to go into Santeria or something. And it's not like that. White is purity, is cleansing, is purification. Seeing a lot of white in your meditation visions, it can also be elevated energies coming to you to let you know that they're working with you. It might be a lot of light beings. When we do quantum healing and a lot of people see the color white, a lot of white lines, is the light beings coming to them to give them healing, understanding that it's more than this reality. So it's removing and getting rid of fears and doubts, going through ascension. So it can also be faith and peacefulness coming into you, a period of stability, and maybe the need to cleanse your heart, cleanse your physical home, clean your office, or whatever, right? Let's say it's the color red. Red, we all love red. Blood, it signifies that blood, that passion, that love, and the hate inside of us, the polarities. It also represents the color of the fire. So if you have a lot of energies that are Petro energies, Petroluaces, that are warriors, that are ready to fight, ready to protect and defend you, you might be seeing a lot of color red. So if you're working with energies that bring those attributes, you can easily get confirmation for that to know, okay, well, that makes sense. That might be Ercelidanto coming to me. Why is she coming to me? What is she protecting me from? It might be from myself or others, but you got to go through that reflection process until you develop that communication where you can communicate in full sentences. But at the beginning is one color, one wall, maybe you're smelling something, maybe you taste something, maybe just one or two things that you hear or that you see. And sometimes the more you develop yourself, the more the vision becomes like a movie, like a long movie. It's not just 2 seconds and that's it. It might be a few minutes conversation, vision with words and everything. So you're developing yourself to get to the point where you're having full conversations. I had two different people this last week that we did ceremonies, older people, and one of the person was 65, the other one was 52, and they never were mounted before. These people are 52 and 65 years old. So you will think that if you are a daughter, son of the mysteries in 21 divisions, if you are a spiritist or whatever practice you are, that you have to, because everybody knows, oh my goodness, you have to start when you're young. And these people realize now that they are able to mount energies, to mount spirit guys, to mount the mysteries. And they had so much communication to the point that it was insane. And these people are all okay. So it's never too late to start that process of developing your spirit team in order for you to get to that point where you can have full-blown conversations with them. I hope that makes sense. A lot of people might be smelling tobacco. When you're smelling that tobacco, especially if you're working with energies that love tobacco, it's one of them. Then the next question is, ask, who is it? And wait for the answer. Sometimes you smell the tobacco, especially with energies that work the tobacco fields. A lot of that were in the slave trades, that or the Tainos, the Indians, the natives that used to have those relationships with those the spirit of the tobacco, and they will do the tobacco as a ceremony. So sometimes when you have that smell of the tobacco, you're being told to either put a service to one of them, whoever it is working with you, or that you need to go and do it yourself so that you can receive the rest of the information. So before I even put it, I will just definitely smoke a tobacco, and let me go into the trance to get the full message. What is the message? Why am I smelling this? Some people will, oh my goodness, the smell of beautiful fresh flowers, like almost like a light perfume, definitely is something that comes every time Ursuli Freda is trying to communicate and I'm not paying attention. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm paying attention because it's like she's present, she's there. Let me see why she coming. I didn't call her. Why is she coming? And she, normally it's for something that I didn't know I had to do, or I didn't intend to do, or maybe I was prolonging it. Sometimes that happens when you're prolonging. You have to do something, but you haven't done it, so they come to remind you. It's time for you to take this seriously. Your deceased loved ones might give you information in your dreams about what they want from you. So, one time my grandfather showed me what he wanted, and I never saw him eating that when he was alive. And I asked my whole family, did you guys ever see Papa do this and that? And they're like, no, we never saw him eating that thing like that. So I had to go into this conversation with him. Why did you ask for this? So that I can understand why. And then he went into the whole process, and I was like, wow, this is absolutely in, amazing to be able to understand and communicate with spirit in that way. So when you smell and you taste, or you see in your dreams or visions, or you hear, pay attention, because that's your spirit in communicating with you, and they're giving you the clue. Sometimes you might be, I don't know, you might be doing something and you feel like you can smell or taste the rum or the whatever your spirit likes, and you're like, I don't like that. Why am I tasting that? They're asking you for it, right? Whether it is aguardiente or some type of whiskey or something like that, they might be asking you specifically for that. Sometimes they will ask you for herbs that they want you to have in the altar, so that they can help you with those herbs to cleanse and do things in your altar. So getting that information, let's say you go into the garden and out of nowhere you just feel like, I gotta take this inside, and you cut a little piece of the plant and you put it in your altar with a, obviously in water so it stays fresh. The spirit is asking you for that. You gotta listen to your intuition. You gotta be able to master that, so that you can, the more that you listen to yourself, the more they're going to be able to communicate with you, to give you more instructions about what you need to do to develop that relationship, so that you can feel supported constantly, because they're always there. They're just waiting for you to up your game. If you don't up your game, they cannot give you, they can only give you what you can handle. And if you're always refusing, they're not going to be able to give you everything that they wish that they can give you. Okay. For example, in my dreams, I hear so many odors with the explanation of why those odors are coming. That blows my mind. So in the morning, I go into meditation, I do my meditation, and I always end my meditation by asking to understand the odor even more deeply. And that's how I have been able to learn so many of the odors in a way that might be a little different than what most people know, because I spend time every day. Just like somebody will wake up and pull tarot to understand their dreams, what I do is that I ask for the odor and what is the lesson in that odor that I had to learn. So the death and the energies that we have communicate the way that we put more attention to whatever they're giving us. It was a while back where they told me to do something very specific, and I was prolonging it, and I just kept feeling that urge, like, oh my goodness, I have to do this, I have to do this. But I'm like, no, I'm not ready for that. And pushing it away until one day I was like, I gotta go do this. And after that is when I started receiving so much information about the different odors, because it was time in the way that it comes is crazy, because the orders are coming with the message, and then I meditate to get more information, and the revelations are like mind blowing. But I will have pushed that away if I didn't follow the instructions that they gave me. So you got to follow the instructions in order for you to be able to make that switch. you know you don't just accept what people tell you. You got to meditate and ask specifically for what you're supposed to get from every situation. For example, someone tells you, I remember one time I went, years ago, I went to a place, I think the name is Casadega, Florida. Is like one of the most ancient, not ancient, older cities here in Florida for Medians, where there is a community of Medians. And the Median couldn't help me. She couldn't she couldn't go into that communication with the spirits that I wanted to communicate with back then. But I remember seeing someone that was reading. She said, "Let me read the tarots for you." And I'm like, I don't really like the tarots, because I was used to the Spanish reading cards. And she said, "Let me just try." And she told me that I was going to end up. This is many years ago, and that I was going to end up cooking, and that I was a really good cook. And I'm like, girl, I don't like cooking. Years later, I ended up with a restaurant, and I used to laugh every time I remember that, because I'm like, wow, isn't it crazy? But anyways, I don't even remember why I started telling you that. Spirit communicates in such a weird way that sometimes we just have to laugh at how everything plays out, right? So one of my things that I gave you, this little uh, tool practice things that you can do. You can listen to the beginning of the video to understand this, but you can also pull your tarots every day to get the dreams if you're having issues remembering your dreams, because a lot of the spirits are going to communicate in your dream state. They are not going to communicate in your day life most of the time unless you're very much advanced, because you're so into this 3D reality that you cannot hear, see, or activate your clairs to really understand what they're trying to tell you. So when you're sleeping, you are actually, all of your senses are out of the way and that they can communicate easily with you. That's why in the dreams we receive so much. So you got to pay attention to your dream. And if you're having issues, you got to go into something quick, like whether it is tarot or meditating, and ask him, what did I learn last night in that dream? So that you can train yourself to pick up the main lessons from those dreams. Okay, what else? See if there is anything else that I want to, sometimes we have a new spirit thing coming to you, and I want to make sure that I remind you that when they come to you, you don't just ask for what is their purpose in general, because sometimes they come with a very specific mission for you. So you have to ask, what is their purpose with you? Okay, so when I have a new spirit that is coming to me, I don't ask in general. I ask, what is your main purpose with me? What are you coming to teach me? What are you coming to help me with? So that it can be very specific, because they can give you a million things what they represent. But the moment that they decide to come and introduce themselves to you, to show that they're here for you, even though they might have been there all the time, but now is when you're ready to understand that they're here for you. You got to be more specific about what is their purpose for you now. Okay, so you got to develop that ability to communicate with spirit very purposely. You don't just leave it to general things, right? Does that make sense? Like a spirit guy that might be very forceful when they come to somebody else, might be very gentle with you, and you feel that strength and gentleness, and you're like, but they said that he's aggressive, but with you it feels differently. So you cannot categorize the spirits, these energies, general. You got to be very specific. What do they represent for you? Whether coming, like I always think of Gran Torolisa, because people always see and feel him so strongly and so aggressively, and so sometimes I feel dangerously. They go and do things and buy things, crazy stuff. And to me, he is like, he truly works with me, but I feel protected, and his gentleness with me is beyond what somebody will understand if they experience him in that aggressive way that most people feel him. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be very intentional when you communicate with your spirit team, so that you get the answers for you, not for the neighbor, not for the other one, but for you, because your truth is going to be different than somebody else's truth. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, let me see if I can go into some of the questions, and then I don't know if I have time to share more. Okay, all right, so let me see if I can get some of these questions without bushing them. Moon, is that how you say your name? Moon? Um, the question is, seeing birds all the time mean this could be your spirit guide? Birds always fly low in front of my vehicle when I'm driving, but I don't know exactly what. Well, let me tell you that also it could be the avians, the light beings called avians. There are so many energies. It could be dragons, it could be so many different intergalactic light beings, aliens, if you want to call them aliens, light beings from other constellations, other galaxies. Also letting you know, but also in quantum healing, what we have found is that some people that have a lot of burst energy, they also can represent your ancestors, giving you messages. I had a friend who recently passed away, and he comes to his wife all the time in front of the cars, um, in the form of different birds, making different. One time they made a heart, and she's like driving and crying and feeling his energy, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Like, crazy, but it happens. The birds, they also radiate. They have their frequency balances out the electromagnetic frequency of the planet, so that when you see a lot of birds, no, they're not just flying, they have a purpose, right? But also they have a lot of messages for us. So when we see, I always give them thanks, because I know that I normally am not looking up, but when I look up, there are always so many different ones. And I was at the beach, and all of these little birds came into a prayer position, and I was like, wow, that's so beautiful. They did that for like 2 hours, and I'm like trying to find why did they do that. But anyways, my point is that we got to pay attention to what they're doing, how we're feeling at that moment, what is the first thoughts that come to mind, so that we can develop that ability to quickly understand the message that they have for us. But I do believe that it could be also the ancestors, or different light beings. I don't like to call them aliens, light beings that may be giving you information, maybe even downloads that you have to then activate by reflecting and meditating. Is any of the clairs have to do with humming in the left eye? How do we develop our clairs? Well, I think with I think we talked about that before, but to develop your clairs, you got to believe, you got to be able to have faith. If you don't have faith, you cannot take down. Okay, so we did talk about this, because I remember talking about, like, people see this wall, like the veil, the curtain, and when we put that curtain there, it's because we have resistance. So if we have that resistance, you got to take out the resistance by believing and practicing different things, and start with one, then another one, then another one, so you don't develop all of them at the same time. Got to take it one day at a time, because otherwise it could be too much, and then you got to master one, and then continue to another one. The third eye, definitely meditating. Any other clairs, you're going to have to be very good at meditating, because it's definitely like developing the ability to remove the physical from this by closing your eyes and going inward is key in order for us to develop our clairs. So you have to be able to breathe and go in and reflect, and allow yourself to have that space to just be, in order for you to activate the different layers. And it is a process, it's not a one day process. Oh, thank you so much, Theresia. Oh, Theresia, that's a cool name. What do we do when we see double numbers throughout the day? I didn't understand. Yeah, then okay, yeah, thank you for reminding me that the angels communicate. Okay, we see the orishas communicate with a lot of odus. The luases might give us colors and messages, and our spirit guide, spirit team have different ways that they communicate with us. The angels are going to communicate, and the light beings are going to communicate with us with numbers and sacred geometry. So understanding and looking the meaning of the different numbers that you see in your dreams is crucial. That's why you got to remember the numbers from your dreams. Also, if you start seeing different shades, you're going through some activation. You might be getting some DNA activations at that moment. So you got to go in and meditate, and figure out, okay, let me receive this fully by taking the time to respect the energies, thank them properly, by taking the time to have my body do what it needs to do while I meditate and I do what I have to do, right? So meditation is key. We cannot advance as a medium channeler without the proper meditation ability to meditate. And if you don't know how to meditate for 1, 2, 3 hours, you got to learn by starting with 1, 2 minutes until you get to the point where you could do it overnight if needed. You have to. There is no shortcuts for that. No shortcuts for that. The numbers have a lot of the numbers represent frequencies. The frequencies have meaning, obviously. So those numbers have meaning. And if you with the I think we spent like 3, 4 hours in the Awakening the Healer video program. So you might want to check that out or go to Google and master the ability to understand those numbers. Okay, let's see. T Truth Speaker says, I don't know about the deities, but spirits that come to me are my ancestors. Yes, the ancestors will also give you numbers. They will give you things that they want or things that you should be doing. They will give you clear messages. Anything that the spirit guides can do, they can do, because the ancestors, a lot of them are part of these spirit guides or are working with these spirit guides to help you. They become part of their legions so that they can help their families to go through their ascension process, especially if you are in the healing path and you're taking this seriously. It's potential true that you have been the one chosen for your family to help them ascend. So by you ascending, you're also bringing all of your family, even though they might not know it. Okay, so a lot of our ancestors are part of different legions of the spirit teams that we might know or not know about. Okay, beautiful. Buru Shili, is that how you say that? Says, good morning. This makes perfect sense. The meaning of a peacock. Peacock is beautiful energy, prosperity, vibrancy. It's a beautiful energy. The peacock energy is one of those that, when the peacock opens up and, is showing off and stuff, and everybody's like, oh, look at that. Look at all those colors. You know, look up the animal, totem, spirit guide, spirit animal guide, medicine or something like that, and you will see so much information about the peacock, because it truly is radiant vibrancy, abundance, uniqueness, beauty. Is it's almost like so much sacred geometry and colors there to give us so much meaning, so you can pull so much information from the peacock energy. And peacock medicine is very powerful medicine, especially if you need like a major infusion of feeling, self-worth, self-love, uh, anything you can think of, you can find it with the peacock medicine. Just like the hummingbird, right? The hummingbird is perfect for the heart center. So when we need some help with the heart center, when we feel lonely, we can ask for the hummingbird to come and help us feel that emptiness, and we will feel better immediately. You cannot do that and feel the same like we did before, asking the hummingbird to come and help us. Will spirit ban nine ban says, will spirit guys not help you on purpose for your highest good? Yeah, that happens often. Don't interrupt my hair because they want me to do everything myself so I can be more independent. Yes, that happens often, especially if you have a tendency to become dependent. Some people think, oh, the spirit guys are gonna do everything for me. All I gotta do is ask. And that's not the case. The spirit guides will only help you to the point where they see that you're putting same or equal or more effort. Sometimes we do get a little pass if they feel bad for us, but 99% of the time they're going to require us to do our part so that we can learn the lessons, so that we can truly become independent of being able to do this ourselves regardless, right? But the spirit thing is there. You can, obviously they're not going to put $1 million in front of you. um Anything is possible though, but what I'm saying is you got to put your part, you got to put your effort, you got to do your job, right? To meditate, okay, easy. A lot of people have a hard time learning to meditate, and that's because they want to clear their mind. They think they're going to sit there with their legs crossed, and you got to do this, and you have to let go of everything, and that can be very challenging for a lot of people unless you have a lot of unless you truly train yourself. I like to tell people to meditate. You can lay down, you can lay down, get comfortable, meditate by asking for one thing. Okay, ask for clarity, or ask for, what I'm saying is clarity, like for example, help me understand, please. I ask for, first you ask for protection. I am asking my spirit team to please protect me here while I go through this meditation, so that you can receive protection in the astral plane. Because once you meditate, once you close your eyes, you're in the astral planes. Once you're in the astral plane, right? What you can ask, please help me understand how to become more whatever. How to, what is one thing that I always ask is, help me understand at the beginning, help me understand what I need to let go of, so that I can become a better person. And trust me, I received too many, so one day at a time. But I will take that and wait for the answers. And if you forget the question, you repeat the question, and you wait for the answer, and 10 minutes go by, you don't receive the answer. You're training yourself. At the beginning it's hard to receive if you haven't trained yourself, so you got to be patient. It's a process. I can tell you, at the beginning I couldn't meditate even for 30 seconds. I had to fight with myself to meditate for 30 seconds. And I can do overnight meditation. I do overnight meditation all the time. I don't fall asleep. I'm not saying overnight meditation where I fall asleep. I'm talking about overnight meditation where I'm actively conversating with spirit and going into trance and pulling information from the higher plane, so that I can do my job better as a person, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a healer, as a friend, so that I can go through my ascension process. But at the beginning, I couldn't meditate for 30 seconds. I'll be like, and then I will be annoyed with myself. And it was a fight. I had to fight to train myself to meditate. So now it's easy for me to say I can meditate for 24 hours straight. But again, let me tell you why there was resistance. I was meditating, and I asked, why am I so resistant the meditation part? And in a previous life, I was a monk. In a previous life, I was shown that I was a monk, and I overdid it to the point where I would spend days without moving, just meditating. And because of this, my body suffered a lot of traumas. Physical body suffered a lot of traumas. So initially, I was very resistant, and I had to go into meditation to release properly that life from the traumas that were coming in this reality here now as Victoria, so that I can go into meditation for long term without feeling like I was neglecting my body again. I guess maybe that's why I eat a lot now. Well, I don't eat that much, but I have issues with my body because part of that is paying the karma of what happened to me when I was a monk, and I was going for 3 days straight meditation without moving, and the physical body suffer a lot of traumas because of that. So as a consequence, me in this life, I'm paying or pay whatever traumas I caused to that life. So there is always a balancing, right? So if you have issues meditating, it could be something similar, or it could be you need to really let go of things in order for you to go in, or quieting the mind, removing all the obstacles, the fears, the doubts, the worries. Worries is a big problem when we're trying to meditate, because you want to meditate, but you worry about what you're going to do next. And because you're so much into the future, you cannot enjoy this present moment. And that took me years. That didn't come overnight. That has been a long process, and I think I'm still going through it, to be honest, because it's a long process. You don't get rid of that in a couple of years. It takes time. I hope I answer your question. So ask one question and wait for the answer, and that's how you start training your body and your mind to relax everything, to let go of everything. Breathe. You got to learn how to breathe and release, so that you can train your body to go in and release. And when you're releasing the doubts, you're releasing the fears. Visualize that leaving your body, so that your body can relax, in order for you to go into the astral planes, and eventually learn to skip the astral if you can, so that you can go into the akasha field. Hope that helped. Also, humming in the, and I didn't understand the humming. You can email me separately about that. Because I'm not sure what that I'm reading that properly. Anyways, it's being an hour and 10 minutes, and I think it's time for me to go. If I forgot something, hopefully in the future we can address it. There is more, but I think this is just the beginning for those that are truly looking to communicate and start believing. This is a process of believing in what you cannot see, believing in the impossible, believing that anything is possible, that we are truly surrounded by magical beings that are willing and able to help us if we let them. But we got to show up, and we got to do our part, right? And I think that's the beauty of this life, that, even when we think everything is against us, there is always so much support for us. But you cannot get the support without asking, because this is a free will planet. You got to ask, and you have to allow for them to give you what you need. So if I ask for help, but I'm refusing the help because I'm not paying attention to the numbers, I'm not paying attention to the messages, I'm not paying attention to the requests of reflecting, meditating. If it's praying for you, it could be praying, whatever it is. Sometimes when you have that feeling that you need to go by the water, or that you need to go out in nature, because maybe there is an energy there that is going to be able to do their job, but you don't do it, well, you're refusing the help. You asking, but you're not accepting the help. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. Thank you.